Welcome to Elevate, practical content that inspires. I'm Valda Ford.
And I'm Rochelle Rice.
And today our guest is Sindy Martin. She's an expert on protocol and etiquette, and she will talk to us about etiquette bloopers, how to avoid them in our pandemic society and hopefully soon post-pandemic society. Let me tell you a little bit about Sindy. Sindy is the founder of Smarten International, a premier business professionalism and protocol consulting firm dedicated to helping executives enhance their professionalism, interpersonal skills, and cultural awareness. She is an internationally known speaker, author, trainer, and coach. Sindy is the author of Smarten Up Your Professionalism in 365 Tweets and has appeared on television stations including CBS, NBC, and Fox affiliates. Welcome, Miss Sindy.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Such a pleasure.
Sindy, when we look at this, I'm so happy to have you here today. And when we look at, especially in our pandemic time right now, why is etiquette so important? I mean, I know we talk about you have to wear the pants on the Zoom chats, etc., but why is it still so incredibly important during this time?
Because people are tired of the pandemic. So tempers are very short, and the slightest thing, like wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, can set somebody off.
Well, I know that we have seen many examples of people behaving in ways that we never could imagine that people would do in public. But getting back to what made you decide to become an expert on etiquette and protocol? And since definitely we need you, but what made you go there?
I was in sales for a large company, and we serviced colleges and universities all over America. And it never ceased to amaze me the things that I would see on those college campuses. And I grew up in the military and was raised in etiquette. So I felt that there was a great need out there.
Yeah, when we look, so I have to say, when I think about etiquette, it comes as an old notion of things maybe our parents insisted on, what does it mean today to have better etiquette versus back with our parents? Or I love the word protocol too.
Yeah, because it's protocol. It's respect for the other person. When we do some things that are rude, and maybe we do them because we don't know what we don't know, it can make them change their minds about what they think of us. So it's a respect thing.
Well, I know that my mom always insisted that we sat down at the table together, and in the process of doing that, we had to learn how to set the table, where to put the silverware. And I have seen, much to my horror, that it seems that no one knows what to do with the dinner table setting. Have we eaten off paper plates too much?
I don't know if it's that we've eaten on paper plates too much, but what happened was, you've got to remember, we had a generation of latchkey kids. The mom was working, the dad was working, the kids are in sports or ballet or Girl Scouts, and that's the way it ruled our lives. So we were just grabbing things really quick and not doing that sit down at the table. And I can remember, even in my family, that we were busy too, but on Sundays, we all sat down together and we had to follow dining etiquette.
Yeah, I do remember we always had dinner at 6 o'clock every night. It was like clockwork. And I have to tell you, that kind of structure was really, really important growing up. When we look today, what I see, there seems to be a lack of structure, a lack of the protocol and etiquette. What would you say to women, especially with all this time now we're on the computer screen, whether they're in a business meeting, let's just say, what are the top 3 things that you would advise women when it comes to being really on point with etiquette and protocol on these video conference calls?
Most importantly on the video conference calls is looking respectful. And that means that we are dressed appropriately,
Mhm.
not too casually, and also that our lighting is good so that it shows a good side of us. And watch what we're doing while that screen is on in front of us.
Well, I know that I've heard you speak before, and you talk about people who are sitting there munching on things and doing their makeup or just looking down at their phones. Are those three things that are the most just like,
Well, that looking at the phone is a really bad one because we know when you're writing, we know when you're looking at your phone. And so you again are disrespecting us by not looking at us, but also since we are sitting in front of a computer for that long, we will get thirsty. And think about what you're drinking from. I have seen these people with these 3-quart water holders and they gulp down the water and we're hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a good look either.
No.
I just put mine away, so all is good.
Well, we're not on camera, so we're good. Because I don't even want to talk about how I'm dressed right now. Oh, yes, I'm beautiful. I'm perfect. I have all my makeup.
Oh gosh. When we look about, I think about my grandparents and how they behaved, and what's happening today we'll just say in the 20-year-old, 20-something. Is there a difference in how people are behaving across the generations, and how do you see this affecting the whole workplace?
Well, I've been called into a lot of companies in regards to this because we have all of the different generations still working. Even our oldest generation, they still want to work. And now that baby boomers are getting older, we're not ready to retire yet either. We want to feel appreciated and needed. So we have to be reminded occasionally of the different generation that we came from, because the casual world that exists right now is so different than what our older people went through. It was so polite and so structured.
Sindy, when I see any number of things that just make me want to cry or slap somebody. I don't do the latter, but what is one thing that you see people doing over and over that makes you cringe as much because, and you can definitely say more than one thing if you want, but not necessarily because it's a break from protocol, but that maybe you have the feeling that they don't even understand it, or something that they just feel like they can get away with. What are things that make you cringe when it comes to what we should be doing from the perspective of etiquette and protocol?
Chewing with your mouth open. It unnerves me. I want to get up and hand them a card that says, please chew with your mouth closed. And even on Zoom. Oh.
Wow. Well, what's interesting to me is, as speakers, the three of us as speakers, we see some words that are starting to trend in the speaking industry, some words that 10 years ago, here I'll date myself, I would not have probably even said should be allowed in the speaking industry. What is your feeling about how the casualness, conversation is one thing, but the casualness of some of these words that are being dropped, what is your feeling and the expertise on this etiquette and protocol with these types of words?
Do you mean like profanity or what?
Also, sorry about that. Thank you for the clarification. The profanity, the dropping of the
F-bombs.
Saying the word suck, those kinds of things.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, regardless of how casual it is, if we're on an interview, if we're on a Zoom meeting and we're having some networking or we're having question and answer, those two words say so much about the person. We don't say anything to the person, but we take a mental note and we think to ourselves, especially if it's an interview, would I want that person representing my company? Mm-hmm. I think we all know the answer to that.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's true. Now, tell me, when you are working with, I also want people to know that you are very involved in taking this ability to do better, be kinder to people who may have missed that opportunity to learn as they were growing up. Tell us a little bit about the work that you do with reentry, because I imagine your skill sets are very important there.
It is probably the most rewarding thing that I do, and I'm so glad you asked me that, Valda. I work with Project Reentry, and that's the people that are in prison that are about to come into our world today. And it's a different world out there, but what has surprised me so many times is they'll come up and they'll tell me, Miss Sindy, I never learned this in my whole life. No one's ever taught me this.
What kind of things are they meaning?
How to shake someone's hand, how to do a proper introduction, how to give somebody a business card. What are the polite topics that you can talk about?
Wow. I mean, just not knowing how to shake someone's hand. Well, we know this as speakers, as we shake hands, and sometimes our hands come back bruised, or it feels like somebody put a cold, wet fish in our hands, or they just, I don't know why they manage when they just grab you by the fingertips. Like, what is going on there? Thank goodness right now that we can't touch each other's hands. But is it easy for them to pick it up, and they're very excited that they've learned that skill?
The two groups that I absolutely love training are the college students and the people in Project Reentry, because they want to learn. They want that knowledge. They want to get it right.
Sindy, what things are we slipping on now, let's just say, when it comes to protocol and etiquette? I mean, you brought some of the things up around Zoom and whatever, that you seem really going to need to brush up post-COVID.
Yeah. People are just too casual, especially since we've been, we are not dressing up anymore. My husband and I were looking at a catalog that came in, and he said, hey, this would be really nice. I said, where am I going to wear it? We're too casual, and boy, we're really going to need to step it up when we get back out there.
Sindy, I know that one of the products you have really helps people with that dinner table thing. I know that at one of the local universities, one of the things that they do is make sure that young people know how to act at a dinner meeting where they might not recognize that dinner meeting or luncheon is actually serving as an informal or untold interview. Tell us about your product that you have for that.
I have a table stand that has these flip over laminated charts that show you the basics of dining. And it never ceases to amaze me, the things that people have not been taught. And a simple one is you pass the salt and pepper together.
Okay, I don't know that I knew that.
Did you get a big pause? I mean, both of us.
Okay, so we pass the salt and pepper together, because if you only pass the salt and then you start eating again, chances are they're next going to say, would you pass the pepper? So go ahead and pass both of them together, and everything we pass at the table, we pass to the right.
To the right. To
the right.
I thought it was clockwise. You're saying it's counterclockwise?
You pass it to the right.
Right, yeah, counter. Oh. I don't know. Well, I don't know, Valda. I'm kind of brushing.
I'm thinking we're gonna have to run out and get this chart.
Your background you said you're in the military has really played a solid impact on you and your business. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
My father was an officer in the Army. I wasn't in the Army, but my father was an officer in the Army for 28 years. And because